Okay, we can take a look at the Lohan Kit before we look any more at Nicole. We might as well. Skill, Deceptive Maneuver. Oh, wait, that's... Okay, it says E Deceptive Maneuver, but these are clearly normal attacks. Okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. Okay, no, this is just, like, special normal attacks he can do during skill, I guess. Okay, never mind. Lohan searches for enemy weakness. They give the prime, Darthfish. Lohan searches for enemy weaknesses and enters the stratagem state. While in this state, Lohan can accumulate joy. Holy! He's a joy baiter. Holy! Wait, that's crazy. To unleash the special elemental skill Piercing Frost, and nearby teammates can generate Triumph to increase its damage. Stratagem. Normal charge and plunging attacks deal choir damage that cannot be overridden. Hitting enemies with normal or charge attacks generates joy for Lohan. Nearby, bro, he generates joy from hitting shit. He's so real for that. Nearby teammates dealing damage generates Triumph, boosting Piercing Frost's damage. I mean, you've already said that. Stratagem ends when Lohan ends the field, clearing all accumulated joy and Triumph. Joy, a resource gained during stratagem, up to 100 points. Normal attack, generate 15 joy per hit. Charge attacks generate 18 joy per hit. The charge attack is a double hit. Interesting. Gains occur at most once every 0.1 seconds. Does that mean that the charge attack only generates it once? I don't know. When joy reaches its maximum, Deceptive Maneuver is replaced by Piercing Frost. Piercing Frost consumes all joy and Triumph to deal cryo damage. Damage increased based on the amount of Triumph consumed. That's so cool! Wait, that's such a cool kid. He's gonna be bad. Fuck! That's so cool! Triumph. Generated by nearby teammates dealing damage during stratagem, up to 100 points. If the damage dealt is greater than 1000% of Lohan's base attack, Lohan gains 20 Triumph, otherwise 1 Triumph. What? Damn, okay. Each teammate can grant Triumph at most once every 0.1 second. Dude, this is so cool, actually. Holy shit. Razor language. He does normal and charge attacks to build up his special skill, and when he's done enough, he can use the special skill. But the damage of the special skill is decided by how many times the rest of your team has done hits big enough, right? Like there's like a lower limit for the hits to be counted as actual hits. And if there's enough of those hits that have happened, it increases the damage. That's really fucking cool. Anyways, each point of Triumph increases damage by 0.4%, and he can get up to how many? Up to 100. So it would be... What? What do you mean the limit is 40%? Wait, okay, this character is bad, I guess. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? What the hell? Oh, it is talent level 1. You're right. It's talent level 1. It's talent level 1. It's not over yet. 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 But yeah, I think it's motion value, and it's on each hit of Piercing Frost, and it's 4 hits, right? So basically, full Triumph is 90 times 4, which is 360. At a higher talent level, it'll be like, I don't know, 600, I guess. That's kind of dog shit, though. It's fine. There will be something else that saves him somewhere else. Okay, his burst can use Triumph as well. Lohan performs rapid consecutive slashes forward, consuming all Triumph to deal cryo damage. Damage increases based on the amount of Triumph consumed. If Lohan is in stratagem duration is extended. Wait, but doesn't he need to be in stratagem to get Triumph? I think he does, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. Okay. Skill damage is 95.1 times 6, also plus 0.4% per Triumph. So it doesn't matter where you use your Triumph. Actually, I guess it does, because this is times 6. So you get 6 hits of 40% each. But this is also kind of honestly. Alright, Forbidden Admonition. While in stratagem, nearby teammates generating Triumph for Lohan will grant an extra 60 Triumph. Ooh, interesting. It doesn't matter, but interesting. If you get really, really big hits, they get an extra 60 Triumph, and you can basically fill it up all in one go, in one hit. While in stratagem, nearby teammates who trigger cryo-related elemental reactions gain 15% attack, and Lohan does too. That's okay, I guess. Innate talent. After using his skill, he gains a revelry effect. Increases the level of... What? Whoa. What? Okay. After using his skill level is increased by 1 for 9 seconds. If the skill level of any skill from nearby teammates is not lower, so is higher than Lohan's skill, the duration is extended. What? What the fuck? That's so weird. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? All right. Yeah. It works if they're tied as well, yeah. Witch passive. After completing Witch homework, he gets a Secret Right. Secret Right. When Lohan uses Piercing Frost or Judgment Fulfilled, so the enhanced skill or the burst, if Triumph is at least at half, Lohan's normal and charge attacks deal 40% increased damage for 6 seconds. That's kind of whatever. Constellations. Lohan's Triumph maximum is increased to 250% of the original. Okay! So he needs C1 to be an actual character. Noted. Jesus Christ. All right. Well... classic, I guess. That's a standard character, all right. Additionally, while in stratagem, Triumph generated for Lohan by nearby teammates' damage is also... That's boring! No! What? Don't do that! Huh. I mean, it's good, but it's boring. Like, Constellation 2, while in stratagem for 4 seconds after using the special skill or the burst. Lohan gains Blades of Purity. The next normal attack hits an additional time, dealing damage. And it increases nearby teammates' EM by 125. Okay, that's all right. C3 is the brick constellation. Huge. Because the default duration for skill, right, is 12.5 seconds. I guess that's usually enough anyway, so maybe it doesn't actually change anything. You don't need that passive. C4, when Lohan uses Burst, Triumph is automatically filled to maximum. Additionally, when Lohan enters stratagem, if energy isn't full, he restores energy. If energy is full, using Burst will restore energy. So he restores the energy, and if his energy is already full, that extra energy is stored for the next burst. Okay, I mean, that's... I actually kind of like this. Like, this is the sort of, like, energy constellation that, like, is gonna feel nice to use. If you pull for him, can you get C2 for free? I mean, yeah, pretty much, but, like, also, if you don't pull for him, you can get C2 for free by just waiting an additional year. I mean, we're assuming he's standard. Like, maybe he won't be standard. Maybe somehow this abomination isn't actually standard. Who knows? C6, body consumed, soul devoured, only joy remains. That's an amazing name for an ability. Oh my god. Using the special skill or the burst does not consume Triumph. Instead, Joy is immediately filled to maximum, and the next Piercing Frost cast extends the current stratagem duration, can only occur once every 7 seconds, and he gets 80 crit damage. So basically, he gets to double... he gets full Triumph permanently, and he gets to double hit every 7 seconds. Dude, I'm gonna be honest, this is like by far the coolest kit they've released since Natlan. It's not even close. This is so fucking cool. Holy shit. Like, they fucking cooked, man. Yeah, let me pull up Paint and explain the kit a little, right? So Lohan is this guy, right? He's got his nice little... The transparent selection is probably not gonna cut out the fucking background, but it's fine. I can't be bothered, man. Good enough. Okay. Make this a little smaller. Okay. Flip. All right. What the fuck happened? What? Wait, what? Okay, I'm sorry. I guess 5 lenses are not allowed to point right. Control Z, no. If I control Z, it just removes this. It like puts this back here entirely. Now I'll be able to control Z because I've actually put it down. So let's, dude, it's okay. Whatever. Fine. Whatever. All right. Okay. So this is Lohan. All right. All right. This is Lohan. Okay. right. Okay. So Lohan. Okay. He's a menace. All right. He likes violence. Okay. So there's gonna be a hilly churl. Okay. Hilly churl. Right. I don't know what the fuck a hilly churl mask looks like. I don't know, man. There's things on there, and then that's a hilly churl. Cool. Lohan will hit the hilly churl. All right, he uses his skill. He hits the hilly churl. What is the result of hitting the hilly churl? This is the result. Okay, joy. He becomes happy. One must imagine Lohan happy. Okay, he builds up joy. All right, and once he's happy enough. Once there's enough joy built up, he can use that joy to do the special elemental skill. I feel like I'm just making this harder to understand with the Paint. I'm gonna stop. Lohan has 2 like resources to manage: joy and triumph. Joy is the result of him liking violence. Whenever he hits things, he gets joy. Triumph is a result of him liking when enemies die. He knows he's not doing any damage, but if his teammates are doing damage, he builds Triumph, right? So joy when he hits because he likes hitting things. Triumph when his allies deal good damage because he likes success. He likes victory, okay? When he has enough joy, he can use his special skill, and the damage of the special skill is increased based on the Triumph that he has. And then everything gets consumed and he starts building up from 0 again. So basically, his play pattern is hit very often with your normal and charge attacks so that you can build up your joy, and then do your enhanced skill to get as much damage as possible, and the damage of that is decided by how much off-field damage you've got. The reason why I'm not too optimistic about everything so far is because just at first glance, the numbers don't look very high, and his kit doesn't really buff the team. It's just personal damage. Like, he's got a 14% attack buff, but that doesn't do that much. One interesting thing about it, though, is that the skill, like the special skill, is a quadruple hit. The burst is a sextuple hit. Oh, good one. Streamer said sex. Sorry. But yeah, the skill is 4 hits. The burst is 6 hits. So he might have some, like, relatively favorable ICD in order to overtake a Pyro Aura and allow your off-field Pyro character to actually melt reliably. If his numbers seem low, maybe Nicole motion value buff plays a big role in making him viable. Nicole motion value buff isn't as good as you think it is. Because Nicole's motion value buff is effectively the same amount of damage across the board for everyone. And the only factor that will make it higher or lower is whether your character has ways to increase their own stats a lot. But Lohan doesn't. I mean, technically he has damage percent, but does damage percent even work on Nicole's damage? I feel like it doesn't. Maybe it does. I mean, sure, let's say it does. Even then, right? He only gets 40% and 15% attack. That's it. That's it for the self buffs. That's relatively low, all things considered, right? You compare it to characters that actually have cell buffs, right? Characters like Xiao with that fucking 100 damage percent. Characters like Hu Tao with that big-ass attack buff, right? And you can tell, like, yeah, okay, maybe that doesn't do that much for Lohan specifically. Is Nicole good with Hu Tao? I mean, maybe not, because, like, it's still Hu Tao. But the point I'm making here is the damage you get from Nicole isn't necessarily better just because your character has lower motion value. Like, sure, if your character sucks ass, it'll be more impactful in terms of a percentage increase because it's the same amount of damage, but, you know, going from 0 to 1 damage is much more significant than going from 1 to 2. But, yeah. This plunge doesn't seem to be anything special, and his kit incentivizes faster hits, so I don't think you're ever gonna consider using him with Chen. The amount of joy you get from one attack is 15, so if you do a full string, you'll get, assuming that you are getting triple from this and double from this, right? You get 15, then 15, then 45, then 15, then 30. You'll be at 90 joy after the N4. So he probably does N3C then, right? Because if he does N3 and then the charge attack, he gets to 100. He could also do 2 N1C, right? So it's probably either N3C spam or N1C spam. Probably won't get triple and double because of 0.1 second cooldown. Usually those cooldowns don't actually prevent multi-hits. They prevent one hit against, like, 2 enemies at the same time from generating 2. Like, usually, when the passives say that, that's why. It's not because they're trying to make the multi-hits only get 1. It's possible the multi-hit is that fast, but generally it's not. But yeah, so if you're doing N1C, it would be this plus this, and you would do 2 of them. 2 N1C. If you're doing N3C, this plus this. God damn it. So N1C spam will be more motion value, but it's probably a bit slower than N3C. Should we be looking at level 10 talents? I mean, maybe. Who cares? For now, that doesn't matter that much. And N3C has more app. I guess, yeah. Depends on the exact timing and how the ICD lines up, though. The fact that his charge attack is a double hit is a little weird. I don't know who I should use as, like, a placeholder to try to look. Maybe Xiao, actually. So it takes about, if I start at 3, it's like about 2.5 seconds to get an N3C on Xiao. And it's like about 1.5 to get N1C. I think for now, we'll look at something like that. All right, so N3C would be motion value, time, N3CE, actually. For now, I think we'll assume... Do we just assume full Triumph? Probably, right? Because, like, on a Durin team, you will get one... Like, if you're doing Dark Durin, you will get one melted Dark Durin hit, which is giving you 80 Triumph in between each E. And one unmelted, which is probably giving you 20. So you're basically getting the full 100 just from Durin. And if we assume that it's about 2.5 for the N3C, and maybe an extra second for the E, it'll be 3.5 seconds, and then 2 and 1 C E, and it's probably around 4. Right, so the N3C would be slightly better, and it's less stamina consumption. Again, right, like, we don't have the animations yet, so this is very, like, it's very deep in the guesswork territory. But most likely, I think you're going to default to N3C. And you're probably doing 3 of those before you swap out? 10.5 second field time? Makes sense, right? Well, yeah, the stamina cost is really low. That's true. Interesting. I don't think that matters, though. Oh, yeah, you also do want an ult. But you just replace one of the E's with a burst here, right? Because the Q is 95.1 times 6. Also, this one shouldn't be times 4 yet. We put it times 4 here. Okay, then N3CQ, same as this, but instead of the E, we do Q. And Triumph, instead of 4, it's 6. And this one's probably 4.5, so burst should be worth using, but it's probably not worth building AR for. They made sure his Q is 6 hits so you don't melt them all. I think the reason his Q is 6 hits isn't so you don't melt them all, it's so that it applies cryo multiple times to make sure that you melt Durin. Like, that's the point. I think there's a real chance that you're gonna open with burst too, but I guess you don't get any triumph if you do that. How much worse is the burst if you have no triumph? It's pretty significantly worse, so maybe not. For non-Durin havers, channeling is okay. I think the problem with channeling is that you are not melting channeling. You're gonna be reverse melting Lohen, and I don't think that's good. His hits, there's no individual big hit for Lohen. It's just a lot of small hits, so I don't think you care about reacting him all that much. Wouldn't Mawika work? Mawika off-field damage isn't all that good is the problem. It's probably still going to be fine just because you're melting Mawika burst, but it won't be amazing. It's probably going to be a lot worse than like every other Mawika team. And again, right? We haven't finished the numbers yet, right? You can't trigger the passive talent to give 60 free triumph if you use a high base attack weapon. I mean, it's fine, right? Like, you will. Like, his whole intended kit is enabling off-field pyro melters, right? If your off-field pyro melter is melting for less than 40k, they shouldn't be used as an off-field pyro melter. Like, something's going wrong, clearly. Unless if you're saying like that passive won't work if he's the one triggering reverse melt, then yeah, you're right. Like, that's another potential issue with it. So he's gonna suck and freeze? Not necessarily, because you don't need to deal 40k. The 40k is to get the fast like 60 triumph in one go. But that's necessary for the melt teams, because in melt teams, you can't really have more than one character doing good off-field damage. If you're trying to put him in a freeze team, they don't need to do the passive that gives, like, the extra 60, as long as they're doing the passive that gives the 20 per hit. Because you'll get 2 Escoffier hits and, like, somewhere between 1 and 3 Farina hits in between each skill from Lohen. And those should, hopefully, be hitting for 10k individually. So they'll at least get the 20 threshold. And let's not forget Superconduct is coming. True, actually. Lohen might be useful in Superconductings. I don't fucking know. Which one is the Witch passive again? It's the just damage percent. But it's only the normal and charge attacks, right? I guess that's kind of half his damage, though. So it's not like nothing. I should probably separate the E so you'd get 3, 1, 2. That's like, it's not that bad, honestly. Like, that's a similar amount to Risley, right? Kinda. And that's C0 on a standard character. Okay, what's the ratio for talent level 10? Because he does get that extra. It's like about 82%, right? Usually. Are we so sure he's standard? I mean, I guess we're not, but like, I'm gonna assume he's standard for now. Doesn't leveling his talents break him? No. I don't think you care about the duration extension. I don't think you want to stay on him for longer than the skill duration. I think you're very often going to swap out before the skill duration is even over, because the rest of your team has animations to go through as well. Yeah, his cryo application is much faster than Risley, I think, assuming standard ICD, which means he will be a lot better at enabling off-field melt than Risley is. Okay, C1, Q, C1, E. That seems like I fucked up. Yeah. That's a pretty meaningful C1 for his personal damage, huh? Yeah. It's a big Constellation 1. How confident are we in the Lohen is standard idea, by the way? Very high, very reliable source, very. The Ascension is also crit damage. I mean, a lot of standard characters have crit damage Ascension. That doesn't mean anything. Okay. C2 is 300% The personal damage increase will be very small. That's not even that small, actually. But it's kind of small compared to the C1. But 125 EM to Durin is pretty big. Maybe I'm just overestimating how much damage you get out of Dark Durin, but these numbers seem like surprisingly high to me. Isn't it 250? I doubt this can stack. The reason why the duration is longer than the cooldown is likely because you're not necessarily triggering this off cooldown, right? Because the joy building is isn't time based. By the way, I still haven't done any team counts. I'm just like, for now, I'm just comparing the motion value to Risley, and I'm like, wow, this Risley character really sucks, huh? How are you getting your shred in that team? Are you just settling for Shilonen? Because that's kind of always been the problem for meld teams. The setups are just painful. One thing though is if you're doing N3C on Lohan, you will be able to overtake the aura pretty quickly, right? Because that's 7 cryo applications within 1 string, and then you follow that up with 2 application with the skill. So like one combo from Lohan and your aura is overtaken for sure, 100%. Oh, I guess you could use Sitlali. That's true. Yeah, maybe it's just Sitlali. Lohan, Sitlali, Durin, Nicole. That sounds about right. Yeah. Oh, that definitely sounds right. No cryo shred. Who cares? But it might not actually be Sitlali because you might not need the extra cryo app. And if you don't need the extra cryo app, Sitlali does less than Shilonen, right? She does have TTDS, but I don't know if you want to do 20-second rotations. Sucrose, you could do Sucrose. Yeah, I guess the cryo resonance is pretty good, huh? Is 15 crit rate better than the extra 16 shred? And the cryo shred? Maybe not. Maybe Lohan does enough to justify Shilonen. Sitlali might even enable Shanling. No, it won't. No, it won't. I guess C2 gives him more cryo app, so maybe at C2 it does. But like, that seems a little sus. Is Nicole needed? One of the biggest issues with Meld Durin right now is that Meld Durin's kit has no synergy whatsoever with being kept on field, but none of the good buffers buff off field for attack scalers, right? And Nicole changes that. So I do think Nicole is going to be a pretty big upgrade for Meld Durin teams. That's also another reason why I'm not too optimistic about Charlene here, is because Charlene can already benefit from Bennett. So Nicole won't do as much for her. Nicole burst is the same element as the on-fielder, so wouldn't she give it extra app? Supposedly it doesn't apply the element. My best guess right now is that it does the same element for the sake of damage percent, but it's 0U application. There's a few things in the game that are 0U application, and I do feel like it would be a bit weird for a Pyro character to be able to apply an element other than Pyro. I feel like that's kind of an Animo thing when it comes to like the elemental identity. So I think it would make a lot more sense thematically if it was 0U. Lunar damage is 0U. Lunar damage isn't 0U because it's not elemental damage to begin with. It doesn't have an element. I mean, I guess it kind of does because it's like Electro Shred works on it, but like, I don't know. It's kind of like physical in that like it has a damage type for when it, like, for the sake of resistances, but like you're not applying units of physical. Physical isn't an element you can apply on an enemy, right? And it's not like you apply 0U physical. Like you do apply 1U physical kind of. Because if you infuse, like if you give an element to a physical attack, it will behave the same way as like that elemental attack is supposed to do. And like if you swap to Bennett, because Bennett has like a little bit of time before his buff kicks in, right? So you use Bennett burst, and then you swap to a character that you're C6 infusing with Bennett, and you do a normal attack before the pyro buff kicks in. The physical hit will quote unquote apply physical. So the second hit that will hit when after the Bennett buff has kicked in and you get the pyro infusion will not apply pyro because it's on ICD. That's not the same thing as the lunar stuff. The lunar stuff is actually just not. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Who cares? Skirk with Escafimona and Lohan and Skirk as burst mode seems funny. I mean, I guess, but I'm trying to think what the upside of doing that over doing a normal Skirk team is. For joy. That is true. Skirk could use a little more joy in her life.
Deuce on the loose!
Yeah.
Deuce on the loose!
Deuce on the loose!